Oh, hello. Welcome to Speakeasy. I'm still Paul F. Tompkins, and today I have a guest with me whom you will recognize from his turns, television word, on Parks and Recreation and the Showtime series House of Lies. Please say hello to Ben Schwartz. Ben, hello.
Hello.
Thank you for being here.
Cheers.
Cheers to you.
Of course.
It's lovely. We're having a little, it's sort of a grapefruit margarita.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of different flavors in there.
We don't know what the name of this drink is because our bartender made them and then left.
Shall we name it as
Yes,
of right now?
Absolutely.
Ready?
Let's take a little sippy.
And let's say, at the same time, what we think the name would be, and let's see how close
Okay.
we are. Ready?
3, 2, 1.
Snazzy
Grape Rise.
lemon. Grape Rise?
Grape Rise.
Snazzy lemon. Either way, that works.
You are between Parks and Recreation. It's an industry
Thank you.
slang.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Well, I
didn't
know
think you
that-
had the time, but you do.
I know the people in the flyovers don't know when we say Parks and
Flyovers.
Rec.
Sure.
Yeah.
Parks and Recreation.
Parks and Recreation.
Yeah.
And House of Lies.
HOL. Yeah.
Whole.
Hull. Yeah.
And also your many books, your live shows that you do. You
Sure.
have a lot going on. Do you ever not do stuff?
I'm just now getting better at learning to take some time to relax and not work. Because I do, when I'm not acting, I try to write. I write features and stuff like that. That's how I kind of fill my time off. And now I'm learning that I get sick all the time if I do that, and I'm miserable all the time.
Right.
So I'm learning to give myself a couple days or a week off every now and then. Yeah.
How much of that is that you enjoy the work that you do, which you do?
Yeah.
You know,
of
you have a lot of
course.
fun.
Yes, sir.
And how much of it is that you feel like you must always be doing something?
I think it is, there is an aspect of me where I come from, like, my family grew up in the Bronx. My dad grew up in 176 in Grand Ave, my mom right next door, and then we grew up in the northern Bronx, a place called Riverdale, and we moved up to Westchester in the suburbs. But it's instilled in me to always be working, and
Right.
the idea that everybody else is working 9 to 5, 5 days, 6 days a week. So why do I get to only work, I'll work for 3 months straight, and then some actors will take off like 2 months.
Right.
So there is a part of me that keeps going, and there is a part of me that gets anxious that I have to keep going because I worked so hard for no money for so long, and now I'm able to support myself a little bit, and there's always that fear in the back of my head that if I stop, then maybe who knows what'll happen.
It'll all go away.
Right. I
Yeah.
got here by not stopping,
Yeah.
and so
Like
there is a
somebody's
worry.
going to come in and say, you're not allowed to stop.
No, but
You're out.
it was just like a
Yeah.
day.
No?
I just went swimming for
No
a day.
stopping.
And it's going to be
Read
you
the
who
sign.
does it.
It'll be me, yeah.
Yeah, you'll come
That's
in
why I
there.
wear these suits.
I know, you look so good.
I don't know if people put this on you or it's just a thing that everybody goes through
Yeah.
where you feel like if I leave the room, I cease to exist
Yeah.
and I will never work again because people have forgotten all about me.
Isn't
So I
that
have
crazy?
to constantly put my face in front of everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for someone like you who's worked for 25 years doing comedy or something
It's been
like
a
that.
while.
So, no, sincerely,
It's
and
been a
well, and to a high degree, to still get that feeling makes me
Oh, yeah,
nervous that
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
that it's never going to go away from
But
me.
I am just seeing now the value of taking a break and
Yeah.
saying no to things and, actually spending some time doing nothing, which is glorious.
Yes, I learned a while ago in an improv class. I was doing this. Is this the stuff we should talk about?
Yeah.
No, so no fart
We
jokes.
talk about
Great.
whatever. If you want to do that, do that.
So I'm farting on this woman in improv class. No. So this improv class, and I was obsessed with improv at the beginning at UCB. It became a love of mine so quickly. It was what I wanted to do, even though we weren't getting paid. I wanted to do it for the rest of my life. So my schedule would be: I was a page at Letterman. I was, getting paid nothing to show people where the bathroom was, and then I would come and I would take a class, and I would intern. I would do the garbage for the theater for those free classes, and then I would like watch.
Boy.
I know.
Boy, oh boy.
I know. And I would do like all this stuff. So my day was filled with, it was all comedy stuff from the beginning to the end. And I was taking this class with this wonderful female improv teacher who was so good. And I was like, I feel like I'm in a rut. I feel like my head keeps going towards the same things. And I told her what my week was like. And she's like, you're not experiencing anything. You have nothing to improvise off of.
Right.
You're improvising off of improv scenes. You know what I mean? Like you
Right.
have to, because she goes, don't do any of that next week. Go to the Bronx Zoo or go to a zoo or do something. And it was a huge help. And especially now that I write way more, you can trap yourself so quickly if your routine becomes so based on the same things.
And now you have so much material about zoos.
God, I have so much. I'm writing this movie. It's called The Zookeeper. I hope the title isn't used yet.
I'm afraid I have some bad news.
Okay, then I have one called Madagascar too.
It's very, very specific title.
TOO.
I think you're in the clear. you started submitting jokes to Letterman and to Weekend Update on SNL, right?
Yeah, ooh, a little bit of research.
Yeah, a little tiny bit of research.
A little bit of research.
Well, because is your Twitter handle still Rejected Jokes?
It is.
Yes.
Because at the beginning, I was trying to find a particular way to make me relevant on the internet. And so I was a page at Letterman, and I was interning at UCB or whatever, and I was trying to freelance for his monologue up top because, you know, I've watched Letterman my whole life and it's something extraordinary.
And they take submissions. You can send in jokes, and if they like them, they'll use them and pay you for it.
You have to be invited to submit. So you have to, they have to give you the fax number and say it's okay. That's what they told. And by the way, when I got it, I had to buy a fax machine, buy a landline, and then when I got jokes on and they would pay me not much money at all, it would just be to pay off the things
the equipment.
No joke.
Yeah.
So I was never in the black. I was always in the red, even like, and I got 20 jokes on Letterman or whatever in the course of a couple of years. So I was a page, and I would ask if I could do it, and they had said they were too busy, and I was like, hey, my page, I was there for 8, 9 months. I was like, it's about to end. It'd be great. And he said, well, submit 5 jokes, which is not many, as I found out. And he liked him. He gave me notes. The writer at the time, I think his name was Steve Young. He gave me notes on my jokes. He's like, this is, you know, tighten it up a little bit. One sentence, set up one sentence punch. That's how Letterman kind of works. You know, watch him, know his voice. And I got better at it, and I got a couple on. And then all of a sudden, you know, I signed some sort of freelance contract, and then I was allowed to submit as many as I wanted a day. So I would do 15 a day for maybe 2 years, and I would have thousands of jokes because they, you know, 25 jokes maybe total I got on in the course of 20 years. There's thousands that didn't get on. So I said, what makes me a little bit more unique is that I had the ability to, you know, submit to these shows. Maybe if I use that. So I started this website, rejectedjokes.com. I got people that were a little bit well-known. You know, to me, they were superstars. Like, it was Rob Riggle because he had done The Daily Show, Rob Corddry, you know, like, these were huge stars to me. And they were so nice, and they did a little bit on it. So I would do a couple jokes, and I would invite a special guest on once a month to do a couple jokes. And then I started making short films, and people started coming to the website for the short films, and then saw that, and then it kind of grew. And then that was my brand that was like my name for a little bit, so I didn't give it up. So I guess I'm still Rejected Jokes on Twitter and all that stuff. Yeah.
And you eventually put out a book of the jokes, right?
I never did that because they kind of own it. I did these postcard books. The first one's called Breaking Bad News with Baby Animals.
Right.
And it's the cutest image in the universe, and then the words on it would be like, it's malignant. And the whole idea is it's breaking the absolute worst news with the cutest thing you've ever seen. And somehow it sold 115,000 copies, so we had to write another one. So like, oh yeah, asking awkward questions with baby animals. And so we did. Me and my friend Amanda McCall, who worked at Letterman, did 3 of these books. And they're just silly little fun things. Especially at the beginning, I tried to do as much as I could in any avenue that would allow me to write or perform, and see whatever hit. Because I kind of wanted to do this so bad, I just wanted to try anything to get there.
Right. You were performing back then, and now you are on 2 different shows. Do you have a preference with performing or writing?
I do enjoy writing, but I enjoy acting and performing more than I enjoy writing.
Because it's better.
Yeah, and also it's like when I'm writing, I'm by myself for hours and driving myself insane. You know what I mean? It's very difficult, and acting is difficult as well.
It's horrible.
I can't use that word. Do you think it's horrible?
I hate it.
It's very difficult. It blows, you know, your mind and stuff like that. And like when you're acting, you're around human beings, and so
yes, you get to work with other people.
Achieve something, you achieve it with another human being. You're like, we did this. Can you believe it? As opposed to the other stuff. Especially movies can take months and months. Yeah. And then you get notes on stuff you've written to change it in a way that you're like, and you have to do it because it's no longer, once you sell a pitch, they're paying you to do something. Right. This is your job, not to write for them, in a sense. Yeah.
So now it's like it was enough to have to write a whole feature script, which is a long...
Sure.
That's a lot of words.
Yeah.
That's a lot of words.
It's quite a few words.
It's quite a few words.
Yeah.
It's over 100 words.
Almost.
Is it less than 100 words?
I don't know. I guess,
How many words are there?
You know what? I'm a big idiot. It's probably more than 100. A full script?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably more than 100 words.
200?
I'm going to throw down maybe 100 to 200 words. I don't know.
It's a lot of words.
I'm not a mathematician.
So then at the end of that process, somebody else owns it, and then they get to tell you about this thing you wrote. I don't like that part. Put this in instead.
Yeah. I'd be like, oh, okay, I'll think about it. We'll try to figure this out. That'd be like, and then you go back home like, but I think the way that I do it now is you try to attach myself to a production company that I trust. Right. That when they give me notes, even if I'm like, I don't know, they've made a 1,000 times the amount of movies I've made, so I have to trust their opinion is correct.
Right.
And if I want to get it made, you know, sometimes the vision of what I have on paper is not as great as, you know, they're like, make it a little bit broader, this will be able to sell if we do it this way. So you just learn from people who've done it from a long time. I'm constantly learning in every aspect of what I do.
That's a huge thing, because a lot of people do not have that attitude.
Do you think so?
I think so, yeah.
They feel like they're like, I got it, I know how to do this.
Honestly, I think, it's not so much that, but I think most people don't want to be told anything. And they don't, because people don't want to feel like they're wrong about something.
Yeah.
You know, and so they don't want to be caught making a mistake. They don't want to be caught looking dumb. So I think most people approach things trying to like cover something and make it seem like they already knew what was going on.
That's interesting.
You know?
I think for stand-up, I think stand-up is a very difficult thing to do. Very difficult. I tried it for a little bit at the beginning, but in my writing and then in your stand-up, the thing that I think is terrifying is you're literally saying, this is what I find funny. I'm writing, I'm going to say out loud what I think is funny. I'm hoping to God that you guys find it funny as well.
Yeah.
So if I write like you know, a sketch, or if I write like a movie, it's nerve-wracking. You're like, this is what I think is funny and cool. You know what I mean? And if they're like, no, this isn't funny, you know, it hurts. So to take that note, I always take a second and be like, don't take it personal, you fucking idiot.
Right.
You know what I mean? Am I allowed to curse?
Of course.
Okay. Don't take it personal, you freaking idiot. I'm not gonna. And so I've learned to take that breath beforehand, because you have some attachment to your thing, and just like when you do stand-up and you're like, I'm writing this because I think it's funny, and you're putting it out there, that's what I thought was terrifying.
Yeah.
Improv, I'm just making that shit up on the spot.
Yeah, it's a little more forgiving, where the audience knows.
And you're creating it with a group of people.
Yes.
So whose idea is it? If you and I are on stage and we're creating this thing together, you know, it's a combination of everybody's idea, and if it clicks correctly, it's beautiful. It's so addictive.
It took me a while to learn, if I do a thing 3, 4, 5 times and people don't laugh at it, realize, well, that's a difference of opinion. I'm never going to be able to
So you chop that off. If five different audiences don't laugh at a joke,
something like that, yeah.
that you still kind of find funny, you would be like, throw it out.
I feel like if I've worked on it and tried to get it, and tried to really examine, am I not communicating this properly?
Yeah.
If I can't get them to laugh after a certain number of times, then I realize that's only funny to me.
Now, is it 5? Do you have a number set in your head, or is
no,
it like,
it just feels like that.
If
you know
something
what I mean?
really bombs one show, will that be enough incentive for you to be like, oh?
No.
Okay.
No.
So it's just that audience that picks it up.
If I love a thing, I will try it again and again. But then after a while, you kind of have to admit, I don't like having that silence. Where there's supposed to be laughs. So that one will just be something that I enjoy.
I love that.
Yeah. Tell me about Coffee Town.
Sure.
This is on College Humor.
So College Humor, this is their first movie they've ever done. This is their first movie. It was written and directed by a guy who wrote for Arrested Development, and it was produced by Ricky Van Bean and all these people at College Humor, and it is their first foray into a feature-length film. And I think it's being released on video on demand and in select theaters and stuff like that.
Oh.
It was shot in, like, select theaters.
How do they select the theaters?
It's weird. They have like a big Jenga board with all the theaters, and then like when they pull it out, wherever they fall closest to Barry Diller is where they choose which one it is. But it's fun. It's exciting. It's me, Glenn Howerton from Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Steve Little from Eastbound and Down, Josh Groban from Music, and Adrian Palicki from Friday Night Lights. So it's a lot. The thing that I found so exciting, one of the reasons I really want to do it, is it combines all these different people from television shows that are like, those shows I find very cool. Eastbound, Sunny, Friday Night Lights, and Music. No, I do find it exciting. So it was something that I wanted to be involved with, and I'm a huge College Humor guy. Like I've done maybe 50 short films with them throughout the past 10 years, and I wanted to be involved in their first one. My hope is that people dig it, because then they'll do a bunch more.
Right. What's it about?
So I play a cop, but it follows the story of Glenn Howerton's character, and he works in a coffee shop. So he goes there and does all of his work in a coffee shop. He finds out they're going to turn into a bistro lounge, which almost is essentially a fancier coffee shop, and he'll no longer be able to write there and all the things that he does. Right. So he wants to rob said coffee shop to show that it's that it can get robbed, and then the bistro will never want to move in there.
Right.
So it's a story of these 3 guys, and so like it's him, and we play his best friend Steve, and I.
Josh Groban, is this his acting debut?
I think in a feature, he did Crazy Stupid Love, which I loved, by the way, great movie. And he did a guest role on The Office. I didn't mean to say guesty. A guest role on The Office. Those are his 2.
But playing himself?
No, he's playing a barista. if you will.
No, on The Office did he play himself?
No, I don't think he did. I don't think he did.
We'll never know.
Check it and then tweet at Paul when you figure it out.
Do not do that.
That's all he wants.
Made Man at Made Man.
Yeah, but I think it may be his first big role in a feature film.
Did he sing all his lines?
He did have some singing parts, but he didn't sing all of his lines. But I think it was pushed on him. I didn't think he wanted to sing, and then the director's like, well, would it be funny if I don't know. He's Jay Leno. The director's Jay Leno. I don't know. I guess would it be funny if you sang like a funny song here?
Then you see Josh Groban's shoulders sink just a little bit. He's like, sure. Working on House of Lies.
Yes.
Are you might be the youngest cast member, or the least experienced acting-wise? I mean, because even Kristen Bell had done Veronica Mars for a handful of years. So, is it exciting to work with people that season? Did you feel intimidated at all, or did you feel like you were ready to do this?
I think whenever I put myself in a situation, I think it started from playing sports in high school. You try to put yourself with people that are better than you because they know more. They could teach you, and they'll push you to be a better version of whatever you're trying to do. If it's writing, acting, or sketch or improv.
It's like the tennis partner analogy. You know, if you're playing against somebody that's good, it makes you better.
Yes. Yeah. With Don and Kristen, I can learn so much. I remember I didn't want to watch Hotel Rwanda before we started because I thought it would be intimidating. Truly, I was like, I'm going to watch it when the season wraps. I can't possibly watch it because it would be so intimidating to see someone give like a performance that you're like, oh, I will never be able to do that. And now I have to do
point.
Yeah, exactly. And now I have to do all my scenes opposite you. But the four of us, so it's me, Kristen, Josh Lawson, in that order. No, it's Don Cheadle, Kristen, me, and Josh. And like the core four of us, man, we have so much fun and are so comfortable with each other. And for me, it was so exciting. And I could not wait to go to work to do it. You know what I mean? Because I've been very fortunate. I have so much fun making people laugh. But that dramatic stuff, I was like, oh, I can't wait to try it out. And then try it out with this person, with Cheadle. Like, oh, it's going to be so fun. And I found so much joy from it. And then, you know, every time you do it a little bit more, it gets a little bit easier and you feel a little bit more relaxed. And then you take risks, which I think then you get to really get into, like, your voice in that thing.
Do you like to challenge yourself?
Yeah, I will.
Do you make it a point to do that? To throw yourself into situations where you're uncomfortable?
I wonder if you're like, I want you to stand up next week. I'm not competitive enough to be like, oh, I'm going to do it, you idiot. You know what I mean? Like, I'd be like,
I hope you.
In my head.
First of all, I hope we're never going to talk to each other that way.
No, I think you and I have a very good.
I'm not going to order you.
The candor is perfect. Yeah. You wouldn't ever come in after
you. Stand up next week.
Oh, I guess I slump away. You know, here's a good example. I do this show called Snow Pants. It's me, and I get like old school guys like Horatio or Matt Walsh or Zach Woods or guys that came up with me. Then I get one person that I know has kind of done comedy before, like a Jake Johnson, or you know, like we have this great range of people. And then I get one person that has never done it before. So for this particular one, which is incredible, and hopefully it happens. It's not going to happen anytime soon because the schedule's not working out. But Jane Fonda's going to do one, which is crazy.
God.
We just did a movie with her, and I mean, who knows when it'll happen. And I only talk about it because she blogged about it, and some newspaper picked it up, and now it's all over the internet. But I never tell anybody who's going to do it. But Jane Fonda said it the best way. She's a 75-year-old woman who has 2 Oscars and has produced on has done everything that a human being can do. And I told her about it, and I was like, if you ever want to do it, and she's like, yes, I want to do it. I was like, are you kidding? So quickly also. I was like, yeah. She goes, fuck it, yeah, I've got it. I'm like, if I'm not scared of something, she goes, that's when it's bad, when you're not scared of it anymore, and you just come in, and you see yourself doing the same thing. But when you get scared and you put yourself in situations to really challenge yourself, that's what's exciting to me. So she's going to do it. She's excited. But I thought that's amazing. From someone like that who's truly accomplished everything, and if she wanted, could not do a single thing for the rest of her life and be fine, and with her stature and what she's done in our world. But that's a good example.
Yeah. You could end up getting to this place of contentment where you're like, everything's great. I don't need to. I don't need to try anything. But you know, I think especially for creative people, it can be a kind of death.
I agree.
Because you really stop growing.
But then at the same account, then what are you and I aiming for? What's enough for us? Like,
well,
are we looking for a bunch of money? Like, what are we going to stop at then?
I think it's the trick of finding the perspective on career versus life. And you're in this business where you're led to believe you have to keep advancing up some ladder.
Yes, that's the perception which is pushed on us.
Yes, and it's very easy to buy into it. And then at some point you can realize, Well, I might have my own ladder, which is on a creative scale and a happiness of life scale of what are different things that I want to do. You might get into the business for kind of shallow, what come to feel like shallow reasons of like fame or acceptance or whatever. But then the longer you're in it and the more you mature as a person, the more you're like, oh, I enjoy doing this.
Yeah.
And I really thrive on the creative aspects of it. And I want to challenge myself in other ways. And maybe I'm not so worried about the invisible ladder. It's more about sustainability of just life.
Sure.
You know, so it's not like constantly this, you know, Bataan death march
I
of
agree.
career.
There's always going to be someone that's doing better than you. Always.
Yes,
Like
always.
you can't compare. If I compare myself, and there's always going to be someone that's, you know, when I first got on a Harold team, which is just a house team, it was the world to me. It was like I did it. That was my goal. That was my fucking goal. And when I did it, it was like. I remember getting the phone call and being emotional, being so excited. And at that moment, like, you know, it felt so good. And at that moment, which is, you know, a low moment, if I compare myself to a Jonah Hill who has, you know, like is in every movie and directing and producing all that stuff, I'm a failure. But if I, you know, if someone else who's been trying to get on a Howard team and, you know, it's hard to compare yourself to people. And I would urge people not to.
Tell me about This Is Where I Leave You. This is the movie that you did with Jane Fonda.
Yeah, so I just did this movie. I wrapped my role. They're still filming right now.
What?
I know. Should we
Should
go
you be there?
there?
Let's do it. Field trip.
We all get a rocket pack. The production value goes way up. It's based off a book by Jonathan Tropper called This Is Where I Leave You, very popular book, New York Times bestseller. And the cast is something of a dream cast. Like, it's everybody that I look up. It's amazing. So it's Jason Bateman, Tina Fey, Corey Stoll, Adam Driver, Rose Byrne, Jane Fonda, Timothy Olyphant, Catherine Hahn, Connie Britton, and Ben Schwartz. Like, I'm like way at the end there. But I got to work a bunch of days on it, and I got to meet all those guys and work with them. And Sean Levy's the director, and he directed like Night at the Museum and every movie that's made billions of dollars. So for him to take on this smaller budget movie, it's got to be the budget's probably 1/4, 1/5 the size of anything he's done. And he was so passionate about it. It made me so excited. Like every take, every angle, every anything, he was so into it. And he let us play, and it was beautiful. My hope is that the movie comes out and you see how much fun we had, because it could be something really special. But yeah, so that's where I met Jane, so she could, where we talked about maybe doing that show.
That's where I met Jane.
That's where I met. I'm sorry, I met Jane Fonda. I'm talking like she's my best friend.
Did you have scenes with Connie Britton?
I had a couple scenes with Connie Britton. Are you?
I just love her.
She's not only the sweetest woman in the world, she's very attractive.
I just love you.
Tell her.
Connie Britton.
She's watching this. She's a huge Speakeasy fan.
I saw her at a restaurant. I saw you at a restaurant one time.
And what'd you do?
You were having dinner with Tate Donovan. My wife and I, we were watching Friday Night Lights at the time, and we were both in love with you. And we saw you, and we were so excited. We just couldn't say anything.
Connie, I'm so sorry. I apologize. I didn't know this was gonna happen.
Connie, I love you.
Oh, listen
I'm different in that camera.
We're gonna get away from this. We turn into maniac versions of each other.
And now we're gonna go out wilding.
Oh!
Ben Schwartz, thank you so much.
Of course.
For joining us. It was a pleasure to chat with you.
Absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you means stop talking.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Well, that's it for this edition of Speakeasy. Please join me again next time when my guest will be a different person. Leonardo DiCaprio. Who?
Oh, so not Leonardo DiCaprio.
Well, you'll have to tune in to find out. And you don't really tune in online. So, thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe and check back every Monday to see who I interview next. And for more info about Speakeasy, visit mademan.com.